Let's get the views of leading Conservative backbencher, the MP for Lichfield, Michael Fabricant. Michael, lovely to have you on the show. Thanks for giving up a chunk of your Friday evening. Is your friend, the Home Secretary, trying to get fired?
I don't think she is. What she is trying to do is say what she really believes in. And, you know, that might be an odd thing for a politician to do, but I think it's rather refreshing. And what is she being criticised for? I was actually looking again at the article, which has been so controversial. And she says in it, let's just find it. During COVID, she says, why was it that lockdown objectors were given no quarter by public order police, yet Black Lives Matter demonstrations were enabled, allowing to break rules, and even greeted with officers taking the knee? Right-wing and nationalist protesters who engage in aggression are rightly met with a stern response, yet pro-Palestinian mobs displaying almost identical behaviour are largely ignored, even when they're clearly breaking the law. I don't think that's so unreasonable, you know.
I completely agree. I don't see the controversy. I don't think it's divisive. There's this idea that she's inflaming tensions. I think the people on the streets of London, Manchester and Glasgow calling for a holy war are the ones inflaming tensions. However, Michael, do you think that the Home Secretary, Suella Braverman, sometimes goes too far, calling illegal immigration an invasion, for example?
Well, in a way, it is an invasion. I just don't know why we're being so mamby-pamby in politics. Why can't we speak it as it is? You know, we mustn't be racist. We shouldn't be racist. That's wrong.
Sure.
We shouldn't be divisive. That's wrong. But actually speaking your mind and saying that illegal migration into this country, whether it be boats or other means, is in a way an invasion. Is that so unreasonable either? I just think calling a spade, just occasionally, is no bad thing.
Does this story and the pearl clutching around the Home Secretary's remarks demonstrate just how disconnected the media and political elite are from ordinary people, the people that watch and listen to my show?
Well, I think that is indeed a problem. Look, I get involved with used to run our by-elections, and I certainly help out in our by-elections, and I see canvass returns. And what I don't see is Conservatives switching to Labour, which I know is a big worry for Keir Starmer. But what I do see is Labour voters getting out and voting, but Conservative voters staying at home. And they're staying at home because I don't think there is a message which is clear from the present Conservative government. And yet the one moment you have a clear message from our Home Secretary, we find that there's all this controversy. One or two colleagues of mine have called for her resignation, but I note they're the one or two colleagues who don't intend to stand at the next general election. And sometimes I think, you know, it's better to keep your mouth shut.
If she were
a lot of people might say, I never do.
No, and thank God you don't. We never want you to be censored, Michael. If she were to be fired, what do you think the implications might be for the Conservatives at the next election?
Well, I think people will say, you know, what do the Conservative Party stand for nowadays? And when you get someone who actually talks about what they stand for, and then that person is fired, though let's be clear, Rishi Sunak has made it very clear.
You nearly called him Keir Starmer.
I know.
Freudian slip.
Because it's too late at night. I'm normally in bed at this time, Mark. It's what? It's 9:25. It's way past my bedtime.
That's right. You should be having your nightcap. But yeah, Rishi Sunak, go on.
But Rishi Sunak has made it very clear, both yesterday and today, that she has his full confidence. But sometimes when prime ministers say that, it's a kiss of death. But I think he does mean it on this occasion.
However,
yes, I mean, it has caused...
Yes, so sorry to interrupt you, Michael. Apologies, the line's not the best. But can I just ask you, some would argue that this article she wrote in The Times is not helpful to the Met Police, who have got a big job on their hands this weekend, that they need her support rather than, you know, this criticism, this onslaught.
Well, I think, you know, she just feels utterly frustrated with the Met Police. And I think a lot of the general public feel about that too, because, you know, it's not just the Palestinian demonstrations that we're having. You know, it wasn't that long ago that you had Stop Oil. In fact, it was only earlier this week. You had Stop Oil actually closing off roads and policemen standing around not knowing quite what to do. It's actually the rank and file police officers, the constables, sergeants, and maybe inspectors whom I feel sorry for. I don't think there is a very, very clear instruction at all coming from the commissioner about what to do. If you look at what goes on in France and Germany and the United States, the very, very robust action they've taken against Don't Stop Oil, or Stop Oil rather, demonstrators, and particularly the Palestinian demonstrators who have been terrifying Jewish populations in the UK and elsewhere. If you look at what those countries are doing, it does seem in stark contrast to the rather namby-pamby approach which the Commissioner seems to be taking to policing in London. And of course, the Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, who is actually nominally in charge of the police, he's barely said a word about it.
Briefly, Michael, before we let you get to that large glass of Cabernet Sauvignon, can I ask you, do you think that Suella Braverman could one day be the leader of the Conservative Party, and would she make a good Prime Minister? Because many of my viewers and listeners are emailing me to say that they'd love her to be PM.
Well, there's no vacancy at the moment, and I don't expect there will be a vacancy at the moment. But look, there are some very, very good people at the top of government in the Conservative Party, and Suella Braverman is certainly one of them. So, you know, I wouldn't say no to her.
Michael, I'll quote you on that. I'll take that out of context and put that on the Christmas reel. Have an excellent weekend, and we'll catch up soon, Michael.
Take care.